Hello, 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 my friends out there in online land. How are you today? It's Trish Carr with another episode of Be Real, Get Real, where Women's Prosperity Network comes together with one of our amazing members. And what this is about is what we talk about every week on Be Real, Get Real is who are you? Because we all do business with businesses. But the truth is, we're not really doing business with the business. We do business with each other. We do business with people. So the more we know about the people behind the brand, behind the business, the more we can create affinity, the more we like each other. And liking each other leads to trust. And trusting and liking leads to referrals, business, partnerships, affiliates. So that's what Be Real, Get Real is all about. And I'm so glad that you chose to join us today. So just get yourself a cup of coffee or a beverage, or just take a 15-minute break from what you're doing and help me welcome my guest today, who you're going to learn so much from. This woman has, get it, 8 children. 8. I don't even have any. And she's got 8. I can't imagine what that's like. But she's taken her personal experience and her education and put it together to make a difference for other women to build emotional resilience and confidence and help them design a sustainable and authentic life where you're really living who you are. One where you can fall in love with yourself and create joyful relationships and fulfillment in every single area. I know that's a big promise, every single area. But this woman is a successful entrepreneur, a wife, a mother of 8, a nutrition counselor, a true believer in the power of self-love, personal transformation, quantum medicine, energy healing, and divine guidance. And it is truly a pleasure to welcome today Ms. Ying Lo to the show. Hey, Ying, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here.
Hi, Trish. Thank you so much for
Hi.
having me here. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We've known each other for a little while now, and I've always, when you first told me you had 8 children, I was like, first of all, you look so young to have so many children. But I know they range in age right now. What range are they right now?
Right now, they're 6 to 29, the ages 6 to 29.
Wow.
There's a big gap in between there.
Yeah, but still, that's a huge, 6 to 29 is huge. And when, you're a blended family, right? You have 3 bio children and then 5 as stepchildren. And when you first became that
Mhm.
blended family, your youngest was 5 years old, right? Something like that. I think yeah.
That's, that's correct. We became a blended family when my youngest stepdaughter is 5.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is something. And you only had one child at that point yourself. So that was a big
That,
take on right there. That was a big take on.
yeah.
And then you had 2 more together, right? That's how that all worked out.
Yep.
That's
That's
amazing.
how it worked out.
So
That's how
you're
it worked out.
you are juggling a big family. You're juggling lots of responsibilities, and the question is, how do you do it? How do you not? One of the things we were talking about before we got started was how to just be you. And when I hear that you had that big a family and that many responsibilities, how did you not lose yourself in the role of a home manager, mom? How did Ying Lo stay? How did you stay yourself, Ying?
Wow, that's a great question, and it can be a long story. But I'll do my best to keep it short. I will
Well,
say
we
that
have time. I have coffee. We're good.
it's not easy. It was never easy. It was really, really challenging. But when I finally realized and how I got to this point of realizing that I have to be me was when I got sick. And because I was juggling so many things, my business, and my work and my whole life. And so I got really sick with uterus fibroid. And at that point, I have to make a decision and said, something, there's got to be more to life than just juggling all this thing and trying to measure up and saying yes to all these projects and all these expectations that was required of me at the time. And when I saw that my children were also following my footsteps, especially my girls, they were starting to date at the time. I'm like, you know what? This is not going to happen again. Something's got to change. And that's when I really have to be true to myself and said, you know what is really happening to me? And I have to, and then I made myself slow down. I went into my room by myself and I'm just like, you know what? I can do these businesses that I'm supposed to do and I can make it successful and it's all going great. But why is it that it's so hard in my own personal life? And when I look at that and I was willing to be honest to me and really slow down, be honest to myself and really make a list of like what is really happening. And when I did that, I saw for the first time of the things that were really, really important to me, but I needed to say no to because those were the things that were important, but it's unnecessary that I need to say no to because I was really quick to saying yes to those things. And so I eliminated those things and really choose to say yes to things that really truly matter to me and my family. And so I learned to do that. Like it's something that I can learn to do. At first, I didn't know I can learn to do those things. And when I really slowed down to do that, that it changed my life like completely. And I
So,
learned that I need myself. I need me to be in it for it to work.
it sounds easy, but I know that it wasn't. You know, we all say yes to things, right? Especially women. We tend to be wanting to please people and make everybody happy and avoid the conflict and be the ones who make things work. But there you were for a good part of your life saying yes. How did you learn to say no and do it comfortably? I can't imagine it was something that was easy for you to turn on a switch and become someone who says, sorry, I won't be able to help you with that project. How did you get there?
Well, I got there by practicing.
Like
Really making
anything.
me practice it. And slowing down is extremely important because oftentimes as a mom, like we think everything's important. I mean, our kids are important, our work is important, our life is important. So when we everything is important and really just slowing down and really listening and tuning into what's the after impact. So when I'm able to slow down and really listen and know what the after impact is, everything changed. And I have to really slow down and ask myself, like, how do I feel after this? How do I feel if right now this is important to me, if I do it, it's great. But then after I do it, what's the impact on my body and how I care for myself and how that affects how I show up in the world and for my children, my family. And I really have to be honest to myself about that. And that's how I got there. And being honest to myself was what's brought me inside my body and really speak my truth and be confident about my no's. Because saying no, it's great, And after that, I can tell you that I can definitely say no more confidently because I'm true to myself, and that changed everything.
I imagine that it would. So many of us live with the face of, hey, everything's great, I'm doing good. And I can imagine you were experiencing that because, you used the term super mom when we were talking. So you
Yes.
were managing so many things. Were you, what was it that I know you said you had a physical challenge, that you had a fibroid, that it just kind of stopped you, but was there something that was happening, that was your husband giving you a hard time? Did you, like, what was it that you said, I gotta do something? Was it the physical that you went through?
Yes, the physical was because I developed some fibroids at the time, and I was just I lost so much weight and I was unhealthy, but then I was also still doing all these things. And then at the same time when that was happening, like I could see that my children were also acting out. And I wasn't really sure how I can be successful in my business while my family feels like it's really falling apart. Like
Yeah.
that was a big sign for me that something is off, that my health is going down, my kids are acting out, something's off. And when I saw that, I'm like, this is it's not how I envision my life to be. Something's got to change here, like right now, or I'm gonna die. Like literally, I told myself that because I would. I mean, it's like I don't know if anyone's ever experienced fibroids, but I had the kind where like you just bleed like, for months at a time and doesn't stop, and you just go without blood, I guess. So,
Well, and it drags on you. I mean, you lose
oh
your energy, and there you are managing your household and your children and your husband,
yeah.
and you've got to still keep going. So, but that
Oh
crash
yes,
made all the
yes.
difference for you. So, how long ago was that?
Oh yes. That was a good almost 8 years ago now. Yeah, I can say 8 years ago now because yeah, yep, it is eight
And
years
your
ago. Mhm.
Wow, and your business was birthed out of this whole experience. Tell me about that.
Yeah, my experience out of that, like it took some time to start my coaching business. Out of that experience, I saw that I'm not the only mom who experienced that. Like so many of us moms are struggling, but we don't really talk about it. And us mom are so in the since I started working with moms and women in general, like I saw that we are so good at pointing fingers at other moms and we're comparing ourselves to other moms at the same time. And but we're also struggling so hard in our life. It's like we're struggling behind closed doors and we don't talk about it. And when I saw that, I'm like, it can't happen like this. Something's got to change and something needs to be done. Because when I was struggling, I was looking for support in my community and I couldn't find one. And I just figured and just made it the decision that if I needed someone, I won't find anyone to support me. So I'm going to create it. And I did.
Most businesses start out of a problem that is not being solved that you know how to solve. So that's exactly the way you start a business. And since then, you work with women with and without children, right? It doesn't matter, but everybody suffers from these feelings of, am I being authentic? Am I being myself? Why do I keep saying yes to everybody? I have so much on my plate and I can't handle it. Are, are those the kinds of things that, like, what would make me say, I need help? Those are the types of things. Yeah.
Yes, those are the type of things. And plus, if you are seeing like patterns in your life that keeps repeating, and even though, like, what a good example is something that I personally experience, as well as my clients also have experienced. Where, and I'm not saying that parenting coaching is bad or anything. It's great. It's amazing. I take them and I hire coaches to support me on that. But what I found is that even though it was really helpful for me in my own experience and my clients, is that it was helpful for a time, but then I go right back to where I was. And when I saw that was the pattern that it keeps repeating, even in my life, in my client's life, it's like, okay, something needs to be done. So if you are experiencing things like that, then it needs to be worked on because the problem is in such a deeper way. I mean, it's a deeper ingrained problem than just parenting because we can't be the parent that we want to be unless we reparent ourselves. And when you reparent yourself, like how you show up, it's going to be different. Your children will hear you better. Your partner will hear you better because you are you versus being in a wounded place and keep and you're learning things, but then you incorporate it. It worked for a time, and then you go right back to where it was, and it keeps happening. And that's when you know that yes, it's time to work on you, and so you can show up better. You can show up authentic and being who you are because your family, they don't need you to be any different than you. They just, and your children just need you to be you. And what I learned and what I see in my clients experience too is that when you are you, like how you show up, the impact is so much better, and everything is in sync, and you grow together as a family versus everyone's in all over, in different places. So
Yeah, cool. I know on your website that you have, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and put it up. You have a free gift that you give people. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
yeah. And that free gift, there is actually a 3 recording that's really short. The recordings are really short. They're like 3 to 5 minutes recording of tips and tools to support you to stay calm in the moment, especially in moments where you feel like you got to rush or there's so many things that you are required to do and you're just like, you can't get a hold of it. It's like, okay, you're needed everywhere. What do you do in those moments? So you can really calm down and be in your body and be inside yourself and really be like, okay, I'm okay. I'm not falling behind. So,
And that's so important, is to be able to manage the moment,
mhm.
right? Because we're all doing just fine. And then it starts building and building and building. And that moment that happens when you know you're about to lose it, however that looks for you, whether
Right,
it's screaming or withdrawing or whatever it is, it's about, okay, first of all, not getting to that moment, right?
right.
That's the first thing. So even though it says 3 steps to break free from maternal burnout, it sounds like it would be helpful for anybody.
Oh yeah, I mean it's helpful for anybody. I mean, I know that even though today we're talking specifically about moms but this what I'm sharing like here it can help anybody like to calm down, to be in the moment because we all experience that. Men, women, anyone, we all experience being required, needed everywhere. And in those times we need to know how to bring ourselves back so we can manage what's happening and be calm and make the right choices that's right in that moment for you.
Wonderful. Well, I know that that's an easy way for people to be in touch with you, is to go ahead and get the 3 steps to break free from maternal burnout. Also, they can go to your website at Ying Lo. So who calls you Yingy?
Um, actually, that comes from my name, my full name. So Ying, it's my first name, and then Yang
Right.
is my last name, and then Lo, it's my last name, also my husband's last name. So I just put it together as Yingy because it's a short for
I love it. It's great. But now I want to call you Yingy. I'm going to do that now.
Yingy is good.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's perfect. Ying, thank you so much for being with us. I think that you speak to so many people, men and women, who experience, um, stress and sometimes overwhelm. And while it's not happening all the time, we know there are things we can do so that we can live and be ourselves. That was one of the things you were telling me was, how do you don't lose yourself? It's finding you. And it sounds as if you found the real you instead of losing you.
Oh yes, yes. I found myself through this whole process, and I want to share it with others now.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, please be in touch with Ying. Go to her website, get your copy of 3 Steps to Break Free from Maternal Burnout. Excuse me a sec. And thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, you're welcome, Trish. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm like so excited today and just
It's
really
my
grateful.
pleasure. And
Thank
it
you so
sounds like
much.
if there's one thing you would tell people that they could do in those moments, what would be the one thing you can say in those moments that you can do?
And those moments that you're feeling like you have so many things going on, just tell yourself it's okay. It's really okay to slow down. You're not falling behind. Nothing's lost without you in this moment. That just slow it down. Take a breath. Take a breath. It's okay. So just take a breath.
Take a breath. That's great advice. Thank you again for being with me, and thank you all for being with us today. I appreciate you watching, and I encourage you to be in touch with Ying. I'll put up the link again so where you can get in touch with her. And if you are at all feeling like you just need some support and maybe some strategies and suggestions on how you can be the best you can be, not just for your family, but for yourself, be in touch with Ying. Thank you, Ying, and thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for being with us. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.